Hello, I'm Barret Brown. I'm making this video in order to better address a number of questions that have come up regarding Operation Cartel. Very briefly, Operation Cartel was started by a small party of Anons a number of days back with the original intent of releasing the names and other identifying information of individuals in Barret Brown and elsewhere who are known to be involved with the Zeta cartel. And this was canceled earlier this morning by one of the people involved, and reported in the media as having been canceled. Shortly thereafter, the assembled people held a vote and decided, nonetheless, to actually go ahead with the operation. And at the same time, you have others unconnected to them who are in the process of writing down notes and otherwise planning for their own assisting operations. Having spoken to one of the people involved, in particular, who I know from way back, and having learned more about the way in which this information is being acquired and assessed, I decided to support the operation, which I understand is controversial for a number of reasons. In this case, obviously, there are lives hanging in the balance, in so much as that those identified are likely to be killed, and in so much as that there's always potential for reaction by the Zetas themselves against either us or against third parties in Mexico and elsewhere. The fact of the matter is that this operation is going ahead no matter whether or not I get involved, and fundamentally, the fact that there are lives in the balance here does not differentiate this operation from previous anonymous operations, particularly those in North Africa, in which the decision to help rev things up in Tunisia, and particularly in Egypt and elsewhere, and especially Libya, obviously had implications for the lives of thousands, not just those who were killed or injured, but the many more who afterwards were freed. In this case, there's not going to be as happy an outcome at the end. Fundamentally, there's no way to stop the Zetas or any other cartel other than legalizing drugs, which is something that's more of, I think, a long-term, ambitious effort that Anonymous could someday pursue. But in the meantime, some of the objections I've seen in particular, and this isn't the entirety of my reasoning, but some of the objections I've seen in particular concern me. The idea that one should not even criticize or bring one's attention, bring attention to oneself in the face of some organization is worrisome to me. I don't think it's the right kind of thinking in general. Some of the objections, are from people who don't seem to realize that it's Mexicans themselves, including those in Veracruz, who have started this operation, who've conceived it, and who effectively are running it. It's not a bunch of Americans, or it's not some stereotypical, computer geek sitting somewhere else in safety. These are people on the ground who, like others in Mexico, which is where my family is from the border of, and where I've spent a number of years, who too have been taking these matters in their own hands for quite a while against these cartels, and including shooting police officers and others known to be involved. So what we're doing is not fundamentally different from what many other Mexicans themselves have done, rightfully in my eyes, in response to these cartels. So, as such, right now, this group of people who are operating very carefully, both to protect their own security and to ensure that the names which are being about to be deployed are the right ones. They're going through that process right now, and it's a very careful process. And the sources are it's not hearsay. There's documentation that they're going through, that they've acquired. And I've seen some of it, and I've familiarized myself with the process now. And having done that, I'm now ready to support it. So I'll be, I suppose, speaking to other reporters, continue to approach me about it, and otherwise providing my support. Anyone whose argument is that the Zetas will come and kill us, etc. This isn't the movement for them. Things are going to get pretty serious in the U.S. sooner or later anyway, and one can argue that things have been very serious, worldwide in this movement for quite a while now. So So again, we obviously respect anyone who doesn't want to themselves participate. It's no one's obligation to put themselves in harm's way, real or imagined, for anything. But those of us who are going through with it, other than providing any constructive criticism you might have, please do us all a favor and give some thought to whether or not what we're doing is more or less responsible, more or less necessary than those things which are done by any number of governments, any number of other private groups throughout the world every day. Thanks again, and any questions can be sent to me at barriticus@gmail.com. That's BARRITICUS @gmail.com.